When someone presents you with their script and they say, I need you to help me make it better, what are you looking for? What are the main things that are going to stand out to you first, usually?
Very often when I'm in that position with someone who's given me a script and says, do I want to, what can I do to make it better? My question is, why do you want to tell the story? And very often when I do that, I unplug, untap, whatever, a whole well of stuff that's not in the script. Like very often people will say, I want to tell the story because of this and this. And it happened to me when I was younger. There's the story, there's some stuff, let's put that in the script. So very often I think the first step for me is always, why do you want to tell the story? And if they say, well, to make money and to be the next superhero movie, then I'll say, cool, okay, let's look at structure and let's fix it with the structure and the characters and stuff. As long as I know why you want to tell the story. But then if I dig a little bit deeper, there might be something else. I say, okay, well, so is the reason you want to tell the story because you feel a little bit insecure and actually need acclaim and money to survive in the world? Okay, what happens if your villain has got that same problem in your superhero movie? Ooh, now suddenly it's alive, And then, so you can unpack a lot just by asking someone why they want to tell the story. And then you try and apply that to the script and then make it a bit better. So that's the first thing I'd say. And then I'm looking for resonance when I'm reading the script. I'm looking for, is this fresh? Is this original? Is this authentic to the story you're trying to tell? And can you make it more authentic by drawing from your memory well or from other, any other sources to make it stronger? And then, you ask all the normal questions like, who's your main character? What does he want? Why do I care about him? All those kind of regular screenwriting questions which anyone can ask. But for me, what's more interesting is why do you want to tell a story? And it's funny that people will write a whole feature film script without knowing that. I also didn't know. I mean, I wrote my Coming Out of Suburbia script, and only when I did a rewrite with another writer did it come up like, oh, jeepers, my main character's fear is that he doesn't want to leave suburbia because he's scared of the world out there. Because I'm scared of the world. I'm scared of success and all of these things. And that's my character's problem. And I was like, and then suddenly everything changed. So it's a bit of getting involved in yourself. That can get really strong. And then suddenly the story becomes very clear. And you're like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it's about. So yeah, I would say that's my first. And then is the formatting correct? That's another story. Basic formatting errors in scripts is like that can be a problem. But from people who haven't read enough scripts and don't understand, they're using Final Draft, but they don't understand, even if you're using Final Draft, doesn't mean your formatting is necessarily correct. It can still, you can override certain things. So yeah, from the sublime to, why do you want to tell the story, to the most mundane, which is it formatted correctly? These are the errors often in first-time scripts present.
Anything that stayed with you from your time in the UK, something a professor said to you,
yes,
that you apply? Okay.
Oh, there's two statements. So two things that I learned in when I was in the UK. The one thing in studying, the one was drama is conflict. And I remember they told me that. And at the time I was really against conflict, and I'm still against conflict in terms of physical, fighting for some, for something, because you want something and somebody else wants something and you fight about it. That kind of conflict. And I remember underlining it angrily, and I think I scratched it out angrily. But then I realized afterwards, okay, they're kind of right, it is about conflict. Like everything, there needs to be something. So for example, if the story is about you and I, and then this glass of water, and we both want the water, we have a story. As an actor, you can do that. You can act it. You can perform it. You can find strategies around how to get the water, and then that's your strategy and that's my strategy. We pit them against each other. So I think there is conflict, but it might not be physical, actual fighting conflict. There can be strategies that you can apply, and so I think that drama is conflict. I've come around to believe that. So that was the one thing that just kind of stuck with me, because my first reaction to it as a student was like, no, it's not. And then I was like, okay, yeah, no. What's the conflict in the scene? I need to know why am I watching this? And there needs to be something. It can be very simple. It can be that someone's got a piece of, sticky paper on his face and you can't get rid of it and stuck. There's a conflict between him and the sticky paper, but there's conflict, and I'm going to watch until the conflict is resolved, and that's what is interesting. And human beings tend to run towards gunfire and away from tears. I don't know what that is about us, but we want conflict. We seem to want it. So yeah. And then the other thing that stayed with me was use the white of the page. Somebody said that. Use the white of the page. And what they meant was, I didn't know, it took me a long time to figure this out, but it was that the layout of your script and how you use your action, particularly your action, you know, so if you write, instead of just writing a block of action, you break it up into sections so that the script looks beautiful, it looks like a script, but it also reads like the movie. So in other words, you use your enter button as like a cut almost. You use long descriptive passages if it's a long lingering shot in your mind. You use short sharp sentences if it's short sharp sentences. If it's a kind of an action scene, you can have like explosions of dialogue here, of action here and there. So use the white of the page is great because it starts to talk about the craft of screenwriting and talks about the voice of the writer. So the more scripts you read, the more I start to see, oh, this is the voice of the writer, and that's about the white of the page, because it's basically like a poem. It's a visual document as well. It's not just a novel. You can't say use the white of the page for a novel because novels are just written, they're just text. But if you think of it with a script, it's even where the dialogue is placed and how much dialogue there is it kind of gives you a feeling, it gives you a tone. Now, tonality is actually what movie making is all about. Is, you know, what is the tone of this film? What is it resonate? It comes back to resonance. How do you create the tone of a movie in a script? Well, that's by using the white of the page and by trying to get the voice of your writing and the tone into the script. And that's like high math. You know, that's like advanced screenwriting. Is if you can learn to use the white of the page, then you know you're doing something really well.